welcome everybody to Run, Walk, Talk, Tales of Inclusion and Development. I'm Judy, and my pronouns are she and her. And I'm here with Steph, of course, whose pronouns are also she and her. And today we have two special guests that we're welcoming. Theresa Tang, who is the Executive Director of Mom2Mom. And we're also welcoming as well with her Kim Gale, who is the coordinator of volunteers, education, and outreach, also at Mom2Mom. And we're going to dive into the mission of Mom2Mom. We're going to explore how they support single mothers and hear about your upcoming events. So, Steph, let's get started.
Great. Thanks so much, Judy. Also, just as a disclaimer, I do sit on the board of Mom2Mom and have had the opportunity for a year or so. So I get the pleasure to give a bit more of the bios. So Theresa Tang is the executive director at Mom2Mom, has over 20 years of experience in nonprofit management, focusing on human resources, operations, finance, and strategy. And as executive director of Mom2Mom, she brings valuable expertise and has previously contributed to stakeholder relations, engagement, and fundraising while serving as secretary on the board prior. Having seen firsthand the positive impact of Mom2Mom on local families, Theresa is excited to continue empowering communities. She lives in Vancouver and outside of her day job has a husband and two children and enjoys outdoor activities, wellness, and spending time with loved ones. So welcome, Theresa.
Yeah.
And then we have Kim Gale, the volunteer education and outreach coordinator at Mom2Mom, who loves working in the community where you have raised your children and has called Vancouver home for many years. As both a stepmom and birth mom, she's been fortunate to have a strong support system of other mothers who have mentored her. So Kim truly understands and values the Mom2Mom philosophy. With a background working with women, children, and families, she is trained in pre- and postnatal care, child development, and parent education. And outside of work, Kim is passionate about aromatherapy and enjoys tending to her garden. So big welcome to you, Kim.
Thank you.
Let's get into the questions. So maybe, Theresa, we can start with you. I know we've shared a little bit, but can you share a bit more about what does Mom2Mom do? What types of programs? Yeah, can you share, please?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Steph and Judy, for having us. It's such a treat to really talk about Mom2Mom. So Mom2Mom, our full name is Mom2Mom Child Poverty Initiative Society. We're a small grassroots nonprofit organization focusing on single moms and children living in poverty right here in Vancouver. So we focus on community, resources, and supports that they need to thrive. It was founded in 2012 by two doctors with the intent of supporting moms with resources to help them create really a stable environment for their children. So currently right now we have 70 moms, and I believe we have over 116 children ranging from 0 to 16 years old. So we support anywhere from groceries, household items, opportunities to participate in extracurricular activities for their kids, some support in any unforeseen emergencies that could happen throughout the year. We also hold really cute local community events that happen, anything from cooking workshops to opportunities to be out in nature. We also have really great community resort or community partners, so that if we need to refer out for additional services, we tap into our community resources from there. And then also too, I think what's really unique about our program is each mom that comes into our organization is paired with a relationship volunteer. Mm-hmm. And maybe Kim, you can talk about that whole thing about the relationship volunteer pairing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So again, like Theresa, I welcome any opportunity to talk about Mom2Mom. I feel really good about the work that we're doing in the community. It's about women supporting women. And through a volunteer, every mom in our program is assigned to a volunteer to be a friend So the volunteer comes in with a non-judgmental, caring attitude, and is there just to help support a friend. So a friendship develops between the mom and the volunteer, and I think that's really unique to what we do. And parenting is difficult enough, and there's a lot of self-criticism and judgment. So to have another woman say you're doing a good job and support you is, makes the world of difference. So that's a huge piece of what we do.
Well, it sounds like an absolutely incredible organization and stuff. I can see why you would be involved with it for sure. Maybe you can expand a little bit on what are some of the common myths that people have about mothers living in poverty? You mentioned that the relationship that they are matched with, it's judgment free. And so, what are some of the common myths that people have about mothers living in poverty, and how does, Mom to Mom help challenge that?
Let's really talk about the myths about things. So,
Mm-hmm.
poverty, one myth that we also hear, that we talk about as a team and we hear from our families, is poverty happens because the mom makes bad choices or if they're not working hard enough. When they actually enter our program, they face two challenges right off the bat. It's poverty and solo parenting. And I actually did put together a couple stats, and I think it's saying that 50% of lone parents in BC live in poverty, and most of these families are female led. So when you look at it, you look at female led single moms, newcomers, and racialized women. So at Mom to Mom, we see every day that poverty is not a personal issue, it's a structural one. So, and when you have compounding issues like inflation, so again, the increased cost of groceries, the lack of childcare, like childcare in general. There's wait lists here right in Vancouver. Also, you have to really think about the affordability of things, right? So, can I afford daycare? Do I go to work or stay home with my children? It's not a surprise right here in Metro Vancouver. The housing cost is a really great one of the greatest pressures for moms. And you also have to look about like the livability factor of housing. Is this safe? Is this space safe for me to raise my children here?
Yeah.
And also just that physical and emotional isolation of motherhood. They have to make critical decisions alone, right? So
Yeah.
do I pay my rent or do I, feed my children? Poverty is a structural issue, not a personal one. So, it really makes it hard for our moms to get ahead. Kim, did you want to add anything else to that?
Just also just echoing what you're saying, that there's just a lot of stigma, and there's a lot of women in our program need the support a lot of times of social assistance, so that puts them under a microscope. They're constantly feeling judged, and it just adds to the isolating factors, is that you don't want to be out in a community that already blames you for the situation that you're in and already feels that you're not doing as good a job as somebody else who has funds, and that's just not true. It also is a barrier to seeking help, so we talk about that a lot as a team. How can we make it very low barrier for moms? How can we make it not embarrassing to ask for help? And that's where the volunteers come in. So Judy, you were mentioning about how does the volunteer help with that? A volunteer will reach out to me and say, hey, she really could use support with this, but she will not ask. And I don't blame her, because you get judged as a parent. So that's a huge piece. And then also it can be cumulative. So if you were born into poverty and really wanted something different for your children, and you've now, found yourself in the same situation, it really, the years of that can really wear you down. It can beat you down as a woman. So that is what we're constantly fighting. And as a team, we will talk about the stigma around poverty anywhere you invite us to go, because it's very important message that we want out there, that this is not about blame. This is not about judgment. This is about, okay, how do we support these women to make a different choice? They also, just get a job. It's not, if you don't have childcare and you have nobody to pick your children up at 3 o'clock, what do you do? It's a,
And then you also have to look at, if for some of our moms that do have a job, they're making a low wage.
Right.
Yes.
So how
Amen.
and as a society, women make less than men, right?
Yeah.
That's a fact as well. So you have to look at what are the systems around us that are impacting the families we support.
Exactly. And
Um, Go ahead.
so just going to say, and if they do get, sometimes they'll get a part-time job, that then is deducted from the assistance that they get. So the sort of the ability
Yeah.
to crawl out of some of these situations is so difficult, and it feels hopeless sometimes. And so that's where we hope our program provides a sense of hope again. And we'd love to eradicate poverty. That would be great. We're a
Mhm.
team of six, as I always say, but we're trying to at least get the message out there.
That's right. That's right.
And just to
Theresa.
just to add to Kim, so challenging all these myths and trying to alleviate mom stress, we try to focus our programming solely on the social, emotional, and financial resources. So to alleviate some of that stress, but hopefully effectively alter the course of the child's development in a positive way.
Yeah.
And really focus on strength-based and relationship building.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Mom2Mom really does want to focus on highlighting strengths and resiliency of the sort of the moms. So can you talk a bit more of some of the programming?
We do try to connect moms, as Theresa mentioned, to any other food sources in the community.
Okay.
We're hoping that the gift card that we're able to provide, helps with their groceries, but we also want to build their community and make it larger so that when they leave Mom2Mom, they have those extra resources. We also do a lot of just gathering, which is really important for moms to see other moms, for their children to have positive interactions with other adults, to watch their moms have positive interactions. Like, all of those pieces about community are so important for all families. And for the families in our program, we really we call it the power of gathering. So we try to have as many events where we're either eating ice cream or pizza or whatever, but to come together and also to feel like you're seen and you belong. That's the hugest piece, is that we want women to know that we see how hard they're working, and we see them and we care about them and their children.
We usually do an annual survey each year to our moms just to see that we are continuing that support and what they need. And one thing that came out of it was that what Kim had said, a sense of socializing and being part of the community.
I was holding during the pandemic online coffee connections where we would be on Zoom. I was trying to find a way to connect to volunteers, as we all were, that I couldn't do in person. And then we started meeting in coffee shops, and moms heard what we were doing and said, hey, we want that. And so we were like, okay, well, that totally makes sense. Let's all come together. So now our coffee connections include volunteers and moms. We meet every few months, usually quarterly, at a local coffee shop on Commercial Drive, and moms and volunteers come together, and it just gives us an opportunity to chat, tell them, what different resources we have available, what funding options are there. I find it's really helpful because I can talk about Happy Healthy and talk about what their kids are into. We can help with activities. So those kinds of things, bringing people together. Also, moms really talked about wanting to learn how to cook. So we have a chef now who does cooking classes with them 3 times a year, and they do a big meal and they sit down together and eat together, which again is, if you live alone or you're used to just feeding your children and sitting by yourself, it's a lovely community event for them to participate in.
That sounds absolutely lovely. And as you keep saying, I keep hearing the word community come up, and it sounds not only community, but it also sounds like you're so responsive to your community of the moms and the volunteers, and you're hearing what people are asking for, and you're providing it to them. So thinking about the volunteers, how do you support the volunteers in building relationships that may change their own perspective on poverty?
So we do an intake form of our website. I review all the intake forms, and then I reach out to them, and we do a Zoom or a Teams call to kind of chat a bit about what the role involves. I have a PowerPoint, and a huge piece of that PowerPoint is the pieces we talked about the stigma around poverty, and also just about coming to provide a friendship. There's nobody that needs to be saved or rescued. They just need support and resources. So that's what I do from my end. I also provide ongoing support to volunteers. We have discussions around, sometimes volunteers come in with the best intentions and it takes a while for moms to warm up to that. And so I talk to them about, that's just a process, that it takes a while and it's nothing you're doing, like, and trying to troubleshoot ways for them to connect. And the feedback we get from volunteers is they feel very supported in their role. So I feel like then we're doing our job.
That's wonderful.
We also had the opportunity this year to do a diversity, equity, inclusion workshops for both our volunteer board and staff together, as well as a separate session for our relationship volunteers. And that was facilitated by Steph and Kim. So thank you for that. And really focused on power and privilege. So really destigmatizing and talking about it and how our bias comes into play. Also, too, when we're talking about, charity means saving people, you have to really look at the reality that mothers in poverty do not need saving. It's really more about what opportunities can we give them and what connections in the community that they can feel that they can belong and thrive in it. So just wanted to make that point as well.
Thank
They
you.
are the experts of their own situation.
That's right.
Yes.
And we
That's
support.
right.
That's part of that strength-based, is that, they know their children and they know their situation, and how do we walk alongside them instead of trying to parachute in and fix things. There's nothing that needs
Right.
So
this work, though, I can imagine be tiring and exhausting, and you do hear stories. So I'm curious to know, how do you take care of yourself personally, both Theresa and Kim? Because, you want to be doing this work for the long haul. You need to be sort of taking care. So curious to know, what do you do to take care of yourself and stay grounded in this work?
I'm glad you asked that, because some people that, want to know about our program, sometimes that question, it's rarely asked. Yeah, I do. Like when I'm working, you have 100% of my time, but I think to try to find the boundary of not on your days off, not working, because you're really easily available. And, as a leader of the organization, you want to be, ensure that you're available for the work. Having that said, you also need to actually take care of yourself. I'm a firm believer about mind-body connection. I feel good when I move my body. So I do actually like to start my day with a morning workout, like a very early morning workout, whether it's like running around the block. I know I'm not a runner, but I like to run around the block, walk. And I do a bar method workout, usually 4 days a week, just for really it's more for to clear my mind, to start the day off, and then I can focus on work with a clear mind. I also very lucky to have a great social circle. So after this, I'm actually going for a walk with my friend. I've met a great group of friends that I've known since my youngest son was in kindergarten, and we kind of talk about what we're going through in terms of parenting. And right now we're navigating the stories of teenagers and how to raise them in a digital world and anything. And just even yesterday my daughter going to a party, how long do you so all that stuff, we can just bounce off ideas and talk to your friends. And also too, I think really being grounded in this work, I think being again the executive director of this organization, you get really buried in of the administration work, talking to funders or just looking at the overall organization, the health of the organization. But I think just having those opportunities to talk to the mothers, I think the most recent one was the ice cream social with the moms and their kids after school, and just talking to them and seeing how grateful they are. Really, the impact that we do and providing them with the opportunity is so profound to me, and that's really what keeps me going. So, yeah. Kim, did you want to add yours?
I'm like laughing. I don't move. I do the opposite. Lots of
Yeah.
podcasts.
It's personal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think I think as a team we've developed a really nice culture of work-life balance, which is lovely because it's hard to maintain that if others around you aren't. And I feel like we're very supportive and realize that people have, big lives outside of work. I guess for me, like Theresa said about the ice cream thing, I went to the Halloween movie night, hanging out with the kids. It just reminds me of why we're doing this, and I love it. So if I'm ever feeling a little bit like worn down by that, because you do hear a lot of sad stories and volunteers too. I mean, women are juggling a lot of things. I just go hang out with the kids, and that's always really a positive thing. And then just being, separating a little bit from the need to fix, like I mentioned, you can be a kind, supportive person without feeling like you have to, plan or like save everybody and
that's right.
Yeah. Just so I think that's a big piece. And I've been doing this work my whole career. So I think I was able to sort of separate that a bit and just say, I'm doing my little piece, but I trust that they'll find their way. That's what
And Kim's been really good too. She'll be like, Theresa, you're not working today, right? And I'm like, yes, I'm not working today.
We need those people.
Yeah.
We need those people who are checking in on us for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's important, for others to hear, like how we're, that we take care of ourselves. And I would love if you could share what is coming up with Mom2Mom in November. What can people get involved with? What events do you have happening? Would love to hear about that.
We have a couple of things very exciting happening. We're launching our biggest campaign of the year called Gift of Groceries. And that's in support of our monthly grocery program to our families. And it runs from November 13th to January 1st. And our goal this year is raising $125,000. And that's really just, and it's increased from last year because it's really addressing the need for more grocery support and how the rising cost of groceries doesn't cover it. So we want to increase each family's grocery support by $25. And thanks to a group of donors, we have really great supportive donors that support us every year, but we have match gifts up to $50,000 until December 12th. So even if you give $5, that'll double your impact of $10 up to December 12th. And just to give you an idea, I wrote it down for donation suggestions. $125 provides 2 weeks of grocery support for one family. $250 provides an entire month of groceries for one family. $500 provides an entire month of groceries for two families, and $1,000 provides an entire month of groceries for four families. So yeah, if you are interested in supporting or just even want to know more about the program, everything is in our website, and we're on social media as well. I can give you the website. It's Mom2Mcharity.ca, and feel free to go on our social media and DM us, and we can give you the information. One other thing that's exciting for Mom2Mom coming up is that we have been chosen as an official charity partner for the Sun Run, and that's to be in the spring, April 19th. So again, if you want to join our team, you want to run, walk, or don't even do one of those and just donate or cheer, all our information is on our website.
So just from the programming perspective, we have a coffee connection coming up next week with moms and volunteers at Mom's the Word on Commercial Drive. So we'll all visit there. And then, of course, the holidays are starting to ramp up with donations, and we do a big, huge movie event, which is a huge favorite. We rent a movie theater and we all go and watch a new release movie. And then that's great. Little kids come up and say, I've never been to a big theater before. So it's very and again, I just always put a plug in for volunteers. I'm always looking for women in the community that want to be a volunteer with Mom2Mom, provide that one-to-one friendship. we have probably 90% of the women that come to us are mothers themselves, but we do have 10% of women that just want to support another woman, and we welcome all volunteers. So it's on our website. You fill out the intake form, and then I reach out to you directly. So those are, a few of the things that are going. The volunteer intake is ongoing, and I will do one-to-one orientation. So there's not a set time. We just do it as people approach me to volunteer.
Well, that's fantastic. And we'll include a link to the website when we post the podcast as well.
Great.
Unfortunately, this brings us to the end. Unfortunately, I feel like we could talk for a good hour or two, but we really try to keep our podcast a little short for people. Great. So we really appreciate you taking the time today. We'll share all the info. I hope if you're just hearing about Mom2Mom, you'll donate, you'll volunteer if this isn't the right time, maybe next year. Please stay involved. And until next time, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.